I am Marcus Jenal. I work for a consultancy called Mesopartner, and I am based in Iowa. In my presentation today, I have been talking about monitoring and evaluation when facing complexity. I firstly talked a little bit about what we define as complexity and what we define as the concept of systems. So we use systems as a set of interacting and interdependent components, whereas these components can be farmers or enterprises or development organizations. So they interact with each other, and there are different kinds of systems. And one system that is important for our work in economic development are the so-called complex adaptive systems, where you basically have a high variety of different actors that interact with each other, that are strongly interdependent on each other. And these actors also adapt and change their own strategy based on whatever they see is happening around them. So complex adaptive systems are very dynamic systems, and they show a certain number of characteristics that are very relevant for our work. For example, they show nonlinearity, meaning that the scale of the cause is apparently non-related to the scale of the effect. So if we do an intervention in such a system, like a market chain, a subsector, a value chain, and the effect we are having is much bigger than our intervention would have guessed, then this is an effect of nonlinearity of complex systems. What I was talking about then was the Systemic M&E Initiative, which is an initiative by the SEEP network that brought together a high number of practitioners that were discussing on how to make monitoring and evaluation frameworks more effectively working in these kind of complex systems. The interest in complex systems really comes from the realization of many people that many problems we face today in our work in development cannot be really addressed by the tools or methodologies we have. Many tools and methodologies we have are really useful in more simple kind of problems like building bridges or building roads or building houses, but they fall short of giving us effective solutions for problems like building up effective education systems, or building up effective healthcare, or improving effectiveness of markets so they are more inclusive for the poor. Now, within this Systemic M&E Initiative, we try to put down some principles that can guide the development of more systemic monitoring and evaluation systems. These principles go from principles of how to intervene in such a system towards how monitoring can better assist project management to make decisions. So one of the principles is, for example, the indirectness of impact. So projects should rather try to work in collaboration with actors within the system, try to change relationships between these actors. There is also a question or a principle of the depth of impact, where we think about how deeply do we actually affect these systems. Different examples of layers of systems could be when we look at income or product flow, we are looking at a very superficial level. But when we, for example, look at interaction between the different actors, we already go a step deeper. And if we change these interactions, we can have more structural effect on the system and more long-term change due to that. Now, in the future, we want to try to bring together documentation about projects that are already having a more systemic approach, taking into account these principles of complexity, and we want to build some case studies. And with that, we want to go forward, and we might be able to kind of build a framework for project design that takes into account complexity and systems.